Cool intro sound.
Alright, how's it going guys? AlphaYGO back at it again, and today I'm bringing you something really special, and it's DDD Orcust, which I honestly didn't think I'd ever bother putting together to showcase off to you guys. But before we get into that, I really need to showcase this bad boy off to you. My good friend SpankoYGO and another friend of mine both went behind my back to put this together for me for my birthday. So I'm very excited to showcase this off to you guys because I think it looks amazing. Of course, we have D Arc over here, basically the DDD waifu. I never thought I'd see my name like this before, so I'm really excited and I'm so happy that I was able to get this amazing gift. But well, now our videos will look a little more pleasing to the eye, I think, with our own fancy little playmat like this. So without wasting time, let's get right into the discussion of this profile. Now, I know all the memes of, oh, if you can put up two monsters, you can do Orcust combo. And although that is the case, this deck actually utilizes both sides of Orcust and DDD really well with each other, where it's like, they actually synergize it really well in my opinion, because Mermaid, Galatea, and Dingirsu all have arrows pointing in 3 different directions. So it's kind of like, as you do the Orcust combo, you can do the DD combo at the same time. Because although our DD combo in the beginning starts with monsters that are non-dark, the later half of our DD combo actually uses only dark monsters realistically, depending on what you want to bring out. So in that regard, it actually works out really well with each other. I'm actually going to start this video off with a combo tutorial, then a deck list, because I want to make sure you viewers right now can see the potential with this list and the benefits that this list can provide. Because we know that Orcust is really good with playing through Nibiru and Dark Ruler No More. And although we discuss ways DDD can do these things, it's kind of like this engine just makes it so much easier. Also, when constructing this list, a lot of difficult decisions had to be made in order to incorporate the entire engines, which was really difficult. It honestly was. And we had to make a lot of difficult choices. But in the end, it came out pretty good. And I want to showcase to you guys the theory that this deck can perform. So without further ado, let's just get right into it. Okay, and to start off our combo, we have something that might be really familiar to you guys. And if you guys watched my previous DD video, or my original DD video, let's say, and maybe even the tutorial I put on SpankoYGO's channel, this combo initiates a lot of amazing starter plays where we can get a lot of advantage, hit the arrows that we want, and go off on our DD combo depending on what we draw. But we draw another additional 4 cards along with these opening 3 other than these 2. And statistically, we always open really strong combos with the safety net of Orcust, allowing our plays to follow through regardless of what we get hit by, whether it be Nibiru or Dark Ruler No More. So without further ado, let's just jump right into the combo. So let us just start with Cerberus, scaling it, and then popping it, getting ourselves a Jackal King. We can scale that Jackal King pop itself in order to summon that Cerberus to our extra monster zone. Now, then we will normal summon our Kepler, getting ourselves our Dark Contract with the Gate. Whichever you do first, it really doesn't matter, but you gotta choose or prioritize what you have and what you're able to do. So we'll then link these 2 off into our Electromite. Electromite's effect will go off, allowing us to send a Ragnarok to our extra deck. Now, we will then activate Gate to be able to search us a Thomas. Now, if you already opened Thomas in your opening hand, you can search another combo piece, but at the same time, we always need Thomas. So we will then activate Thomas, activate his effect to get ourselves a Kepler. Then we'll activate the effect of Electromite to pop that Thomas, getting ourselves, in my preference, a Jackal King. And of course, off of that Electromite pop, we'll get ourselves 1 card. So our hand is looking like a Kepler, a Jackal King, and 4 cards. And the reason for Jackal King is because it provides really good follow-up play, which I'll explain in a little bit. So we'll scale that Jackal King, scale that Kepler, be able to pen summon only DD monsters between level 5 and 9, but it's okay because we're summoning to DD level 8s. From here, we'll use the effect to pop Kepler, allowing us to summon that 3rd level 8. And this is what I meant by good follow-up play, because since we have a secondary empty scale, Jackal King will be able to pop itself on the following turn to summon out Master Cerberus, which is really good follow-up play. So this is why I really like the Mythical Beast engine, because of that extra additional power play that they can provide. But we will then overlay everyone, Coach King Trainer. And of course, we'll just detach all 3. You'll be detaching them at separate times, but just for the sake of argument, we're detaching all 3. Netting ourselves 3 more cards. Now what we open in this 7 cards will determine what we are able to put out on our board. So for example, when 2 of the 7 cards you have are Swirl Slime and Echo Slime, we were able to pop off plenty. So first, before you even attempt to link off into anything else, we'll use our Swirl Slime with our Echo Slime to make our first Genghis over here under Electromite. Then we will link Electromite and Coach King Trainer off to make our first Nightmare monster. Of course, Nightmare will then be linked off into a Mermaid, and then Mermaid's effect, where we can pitch one of our many cards, obviously, that we've acquired, into Orcust Nightmare. And before you go into a Galatea, what will happen is you'll use the effect of Necro Slime Engrave, and let's say for the sake of argument, we'll use something like Thomas, and make our second Genghis under that Mermaid. This will trigger the effect of the first Genghis that we made to summon that Ragnarok, allowing us to summon that second Ragnarok from this Ragnarok's effect. Then we can go right here into Wave King Caesar. Then we can link our Orcust and our Mermaid into a Galatea. It doesn't really matter where you put it, but let's say right here, arrow pointing that way, where we can make our rank 8. Then we can just fulfill the rest of our Orcust combo, where of course we banish Nightmare, send our Harp Horror, banishing it instantly to summon that simple skeleton. We can link Galatea and skeleton away into our long Dingirsu, which we can then of course use simple skeleton to banish to summon our Galatea. Galatea's effect, sending off, let's say, I don't know, like Harp Horror back into our deck, allowing us to set our crescendo. And of course we can then just slap a Dingirsu over long Dingirsu over there. Of course, I apologize for the proxy. This is Dingirsu. Or you can not put in Dingirsu, honestly, because sometimes it's good to have 2 Orcust Link monsters so that if one gets messed with, your crescendo is still alive. But for the sake of argument, let's say we slap one on. Of course, the orientation of the arrows for the Orcust monsters doesn't really matter. You can do it whichever way you like to situate them however you want. And the order of when you do Galatea, etc., can differ depending on the situation. But for the most part, this is how it's performed, where you can kind of do them at the same time. But now if we rewind it a little bit back, now among our 7 cards, we actually open a Necro Slime, a Swirl Slime, and a Lamia. We can go even further than this. So similar to our other combo, we will then start off with Swirl Slime and Necro Slime, allowing us to make our first Genghis. Now from here, what will actually happen is activate the effect of Swirl Slime, banishing it. Here, I'll try to situate them so we can see them a little bit better. We'll banish that Swirl Slime, allowing us to summon that Lamia. Personally, I like to put Lamia right under our Electromite over here so we can save up space here, because Genghis will trigger its effect, allowing us to summon Ragnarok number 1, which will then summon out Ragnarok number 2. Then, at this point, we will synchro Genghis and Lamia into Alexander. Now, at this point, what will happen is we link these 2 away into our Nightmare, and then, of course, we will then link away Nightmare into our Mermaid. Mermaid obviously pitching your card to summon out Orcust Nightmare. We will then save up some space, immediately go into a rank 8 over here. From that point on, we will then link these 2 off into our Galatea. And taking a little peek at our grave, this is what we have so far. So then we can activate our Necro Slime, and for the sake of argument, let's say we fuse with Thomas. Fusing these 2 away, we'll be able to summon out D-Arc. And upon D-Arc summon, we'll be able to use Alexander's effect, summoning out that Lamia. And from this point on, we can summon one of our 2 level 8 synchro negates, but for the sake of argument, we will then first make, using these 2, our Siegfried. And at this point, what we can do is start going into a bit of our Orcust combo. So we'll start off by banishing Orcust Nightmare to send that Harp Horror, banishing it immediately to summon out that Symbol Skeleton. And then with Galatea and Symbol Skeleton, we'll be able to make that long Dingirsu over here. And keep in mind, we're able to like disperse these across the board, but I'm just showcasing it to you guys in like in a compact way. So obviously now that we're pointing this way, we can activate the effect of Lamia Engrave, where we can destroy our contract, special self, and keep in mind we're locked into darks, but we've only special summon a dark monster here. Then we will synchro our Alexander and our Lamia into that Burrow Savage. And of course Burrow Savage will then link one of our link monsters to it. In this case, we're just going to use Electromite. Let's put it over here, just in case we need to keep up our scale open. And then from here, we can banish our Symbol Skeleton, summon that Galatea. And this is where I meant like, you can situate your positions and arrows different ways so your Galatea can be linked to protect itself. But it doesn't really matter too much, because what's going to happen is we're just going to slap and Dingirsu over a long Dingirsu, just in case this is going to get augured, because we're going to activate our effect to spin back something like, let's say Harper, for example. It doesn't really matter, to get ourselves that crescendo. So what happens is, with our two initial cards, Kepler and the turbo card, preferably Cerberus because I really like the follow play that Jackal King provides, we're able to end on the 3 negates that we usually do once we open 2 to 3 DD monsters in our hand. But because of the Orcust combo, we're also able to get a crescendo and the Dingirsu protection, which in my opinion is really, really powerful. So that in itself is how the combo goes, and you can kind of see how like this isn't like the typical, oh, you do this combo and then at the end you use your 2 last monsters to do Orcust, like blah blah blah. No, this is like you do them at the same time, which is why it's so cool and really fun to do. So I actually suggest you guys give this a try when you can. But we'll move on to the deck list to show you guys what this deck is saying. So let's go. Alright, so moving on to our deck list. I'm not going to go too in depth with the deck list because some of the card choices are very obvious, because in my heart you're all very competent DD players and you don't need me to explain something like triple Swirl Slime obviously, but of course this is a very powerful card, so no explanation needed, right? But moving on, we actually have triple Necro Slime. The reason we run triple Necro Slime is because it's an essential combo piece, and we cut Vice Typhon from this list because you'll see later on that we had to make a lot of changes to the extra deck, which warrants not playing Vice Typhon as much. So moving on, we have Lamia and triple Kepler, which switches us into our best card, which is Gate. So this is, in my opinion, by association, one of the best monsters here. And of course, double Copernicus. You only really need like 5 good Pendulum normal summons in this deck, in my opinion. So like I think this is fine. Running triple Ragnarok because both as a scale and monster is phenomenal. Following that, we have triple Thomas, because as you can tell, we still rely on the pendulum aspect to really net ourselves a lot of value in the beginning of our plays to really secure a lot of card advantage. So following that, we have the triple Curtain Raiser, which is a great turbo card for the deck. And of course we have triple Cerberus and double Jackal King. I love this package so much in DDD because of the great follow-up play, the ability to make level 8s. It's just all around super really good. And of course, following that, we have a small Orcust package of 2 Orcust Nightmare, 1 Harper, and 1 Simple Skeleton. This is all you really need for the combo, and the engine to really keep itself sustained and going. So this is all you really need. Moving on to the spells, we have triple Contract at the Gate. What else can be said besides this is a great card, you know, continuous Rhoda. Then we have 1 Swamp King. This card is good in the fact that it's still a combo piece because it replaces our slimes, but at the same time, it kind of hurts the fact that it's just not a monster itself. So this actually, in my opinion, warrants possible cutting, possibly. Because this list is actually at 42 cards, and although you kind of want to play a little bit more of a higher count than 40 for Orcust variants, in my opinion, because you don't want to see those Orcust cards, I think if you really wanted to cut it down to 40, Swamp King might be a place where you want to look. But following that, we actually have triple Layer Darkness. Of course, this deck is entirely dark except for the Cerberus, which warrants playing this card. But if you really think about it, this card only really helps fix your hand at times and not really add to it. It doesn't get you extra cards. So in that regard, I think this is also where that second card can come out, but again, it's still good to play. Following that, we have really powerful 1-0s, which is Foolish Barrel and 1 for 1. No explanation needed. And then the 1 Crescendo for that piece de resistance in the midst of our Orcust combo. Following with our extra deck, which took the most effort to really tone down and really put together. We are starting with the one Electromite, which obviously starts all our resource gain and value. Then we have the one Phoenix and the one Mermaid. Phoenix is just a little bit better than Cerberus at the moment, so obviously I'm a Phoenix. Following that, we have a very small Orcust engine of one Galatea, one Dingirsu, and the one proxy Dingirsu. You don't even really need Dingirsu because, again, sometimes ending with 2 Orcust Link monsters is really good for that crescendo to be always live. But at the same time, Dingirsu provides a lot of protection, which was also put into consideration when putting this deck list together, so I'll explain that a little bit later on. But this is the minimal amount of Orcust monsters you really need to fulfill this combo, in my opinion. Moving on, we have double Genghis, and yes, we had to cut the boy High King Genghis, which hurts me a lot, but this deck really didn't need High King Genghis. Like, this variant did not need High King Genghis. We already spam level 8s like it's nothing, and the utility of High King Genghis is really strong, but for this list specifically, we really didn't need him because we just spam little Genghis a lot more, and it fulfills our white High King Caesar a lot easier, which is really strong in the gate. So overall, it was really tough, but we had to cut High King Genghis from this variant and in association with Ice Typhon, which you saw earlier. With that said, we did run the D-Arc, and I'm not just running her because obviously she's over here, but a lot of people cut her, and I think it just makes a lot of sense to run her to shortcut into level 7 for that level 8 synchro play with the Lamia, because instead of skipping from 6 to 7, then to 8, it's really difficult. Sometimes you just want to skip from 7 to 8 real quick because your resources might be limited. So I think that the arc opens up a lot of powerful plays. But yes, our next card will be Alexander and our 2 level 8 synchros, which are Siegfried and Bro Savage. And Bro Savage, in my opinion, is just, again, the new age Crystal Mink, so that's why I run him. And following that, we have our rank 8 of Wave High King Caesar, which again is like non once per turn summon negate, which is really powerful obviously, and very easy to summon once you just open like double slime, which is fantastic. Then we actually play Lancelot. The reason we run Lancelot in this build is because our board will usually end on the Nigirsu, which is what I was mentioning earlier. And between Hope Harbinger and Lancelot, and even Photon Lord, when you have the option of a protected rank 8, you'd probably go for the one that's an Omni Negate. Even though its stats are lower, if Dingirsu is protecting it, it's a little bit more powerful in that regard, and that synergy is really strong. So that's my logic for running a Lancelot in this situation, but of course you can change up your rank 8 lineup however you like. Then our last card, the Coach King Trainer, which obviously gets us all the advantage that we need to fulfill our combos. And I know it's weird to keep playing him, but I think at the moment it's still warranted to play him because of the fact that we don't have our really powerful DD support. So at the moment, this is how I play in the deck, and especially if I'm playing DD Orcust, this is how I'm playing in the deck at the moment. So thank you guys so much for watching. I know this list is very strange from what you expect of traditional DDD, but again, to incorporate the Orcust package, which in itself provides a lot of its own utility and strengths, I felt as though this deck has taken a different step in a unique direction where you can actually play through some of these Megaton promos a lot easier and sustain boards that are even more crazy than the ones we're already putting out. So I think that's why I really like this variant of the deck at the moment. Again, there's so many different ways you can interpret this deck and change it up how you like, but at the moment, this is how I'm running it. And yeah, it still hurts inside that we cut things, but honestly, this deck is so much fun. I honestly recommend you guys giving it a try because popping off with these combos is insane. Literally insane. And with that said, guys, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll catch you guys later.